With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at meistercon.com or on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I am just thrilled to death today. I've got actor Gavin Spokes with me. So welcome, Gavin.
Thank you very much for having me. Nice to see you.
I'm so excited to have you on. I'm loving what you're doing with House of the Dragon. And we got to talk a little bit about it. I know we can't give a whole lot away, but after episode 6, we got to talk a little bit about it. With that, this Sunday's eepisode, a lot happened in that one. A lot went down. Yeah. But before we get into all that, yeah. And it, I will say this, I don't want to get too much into it yet, but they did a really good job with the casting so that when they jump the years and have to switch actors, it's very believable that it's the same person you're seeing. So I thought they did a really good job with it.
What I've been a lot of people I've been listening to or reading about it have felt that it's been kind of like Eps 1 to 5 was like season 1, and now Eps 6 onwards is like series 2.
That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah,
I think that's and I know a lot of times in England, a lot of your series they only run 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah, because we haven't got the budgets of America. That's why. You can tell if it's got some American money involved if we can run 10 episodes.
Yeah, but the quality of the writing very high. A lot of good series coming out of the UK. I've enjoyed a bunch of them, especially if you like detective series. Guys do a lot of detective shows. So
I don't know what it is. Well, I think there's a worldwide fascination with cop stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody just loves a copper trying to work something out, and you being smarter than the copper.
Yeah. Which I never am. I'm usually the one going, it was him.
Yeah. My wife hates watching it with me, because if ever I watch something and I'll sit there and say, I don't know why so and so is playing that part because that's a really small part, and she's saying, it's him, isn't it? He's the killer.
Yeah,
probably. That's the thing. If it's a big name playing a small part, you're like,
yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah. Unless he's got a big wage check for it.
What's the one police show? Line of Duty or In the Line of Duty? Yeah, with that, and they kind of do that every season. It seems like they have a big name is just popping up on there, and you're like, well, they're not just there to just make an appearance. Something's up.
They're not just making up the scenery, are they? No, exactly. Yeah, that's done now. It's all finished. That was the last series.
I know. I was very disappointed that ended. That's such a good show, and it lasted though because it only came out like every other year, 5 episodes, 6 episodes, and then you wait a couple more years.
Yeah, and I don't know really much about it, but I think they just they found they had a hit, and then just kept going.
Just kept going.
All right, another series. What the hell are we going to do? Who's going to be bent this year?
Every year somebody was bent.
Exactly.
Oh shoot! Well, so Gavin, let's start this way. Tell me a little bit about what got you into the entertainment business. What made you want to become an actor?
I think in its simplest form, when I was at school, how old would I have been? Probably about 11. I had an English teacher, and we did like a little drama session within the English class, which kind of never really. We didn't have a drama per se. I was about 11, and then we were in this English class, and we started doing an improvisation about being stuck in a lift. And I started imitating a character from a famous TV series in the UK called Dad's Army, which you may or may not have heard of. And it was about a load of old boys during the Second World War who were the home guard. So when the youngsters were all shipped off to France, in the UK, we had a lot of ex-veterans that would join they called it the Home Guard. And it was just a comedy series that ran for years, and it was brilliant. And I was imitating one of the characters on that. So, "Oh, don't panic, Mr. Mainwaring," and I was probably only 10. And I remember everybody just laughing, like absolutely pissing themselves. And I thought, oh, I quite like this. I like this. I like these people laughing. And that's the first time I think I got the bug. And then from then on, it kind of just spiraled. And it was that and sport that I was only ever interested in, those two things.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you play any sports through school?
Football, soccer, rugby, and cricket. So I was going to maybe be a professional cricket player, but I kind of got dropped by my county at a younger age. So they found out I got into drama school and said, "We found out you got into drama school, so we think you should do that." So
Have you got to play a cricket player on the screen yet?
No. And I probably won't now because I'm too old and too rotund. But there might be one of those sort of Midsummer Murders type series where there's a friendly cricket village match on the village green and the vicar gets murdered in the tea room. There'll be something like that will happen. I'll get cast in that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd watch that.
Yeah, it's probably been run on some of the channels over there a million times, I bet.
You and I are at the age and the physiques that we could play the coach, but maybe not be one of the players.
I'm up for that. I'll play anything if the money's right, mate.
Yeah, me too. Nobody's calling, but if they call and the money's right, I'm there.
You're all over it. Yeah.
Did I see that you played Winston Churchill in something a little while ago?
Yeah, on a TV series called Man Down. It was just an offer came in to play. I was playing a guy who was pretending to be Winston Churchill at one of those reenactment centres, and it was a comedy. And then I end up stealing all of the kids that are there on a day trip. I steal all of their mobile phones from the locker, and then the lead character has to chase me through this Imperial War Museum, and I'm doing somersaults and parquet, which was all me, obviously. Through this place. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I played Winston Churchill, but it had very little dialogue.
Well, you wouldn't need much. You're Winston Churchill. You can.
I worked with Gary Oldman recently, and I said to him, "Do you know, both of us have played Winston Churchill?" I said, "I think more people probably have seen your interpretation than mine."
Well, not after they hear this interview. They're going to be rushing to find it.
Well, I think it's probably on YouTube. It's quite funny, actually. The chase is quite amusing.
Yeah. Well, and you were in a one called The Warrior Kings, and that's been, I can't believe it, but it's been a while back, right?
That's a video game I did.
Oh, a video game. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's been a little while, right?
Oh God, yeah, I did that. Oh God, I can't even remember. 2001, 2000, something like that.
Yeah, I know.
I did the voiceover for it. I think that's like my first credit, I think, on IMDb or something.
Yeah, that's. Have you done any other voiceover work since then?
Yeah, a few commercials, a bit here and there.
Yeah,
maybe they might come a bit more now after Dragons come out, but
I'm surprised they haven't come out with the video game for that yet.
Yeah, I am actually. Mate, is there never been one of? There isn't one of Thrones, is there?
I don't remember one of Thrones. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not really my son's the gamer, but I don't remember one of Game of Thrones.
No. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't.
Yeah.
It would go down well, wouldn't it?
Well, in the video game, maybe we get your backstory. You know, we get a whole thing about how you rise up to end up becoming Hand of the King.
Well, he's quite fruity. There's a fruity past to Lionel. I mean, he was a very educated man, went to the Citadel and got 6 links, very clever, but then he kind of gave it all up because I think he was more interested in women and didn't fancy celibacy. And his father had been Hand of the King as well, so there was a lot of tradition and loyalty.
I had a similar upbringing. When I was in elementary school, I was president of the He-Man Woman Haters Club, and that lasted until some girl at the time paid the slightest bit of attention to me, and I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah. And
Club's
what age
done.
was that? About 15, 16? Were you about 15 or 16?
Yeah, well, it was probably even before that. Probably.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah. Probably right about my teenage years, so 13 or so. You know, back at that age where you don't know anything,
about
but you know you like the attention. So
absolutely. Who doesn't like attention?
So had you read any of George's books before the series?
No, no. I read a bit of Fire and Blood before we started filming.
Yeah. It reads kind of
read.
like a history book.
Yeah, exactly. And I know quite a few of the guys read the novella, which I can't remember the name of it. The one about the day in the life of the princess. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, right. It's not the Duncan Egg series. It's the other novella that he put out there.
I could be absolutely pissing in the wind here. I could be chatting absolute bollocks, but I feel like there was another book that I remember Millie Alcock and Emma Darcy both read. But I dipped into Fire and Blood to basically just find out the facts about my character and timelines and all that kind of stuff.
The way his mind works is kind of interesting. I think just because he was able to basically create this entire history, you know, not knowing that he would ever really need it for a ton. And then, you know, here we are, and the show is so well written, which has been terrific. It's similar, I think, in tone to when Game of Thrones first came out, those first couple of seasons. I think where the writing was just so good. House of the Dragon's been that way.
Yeah, the writing's fantastic. I think it's one reason I was very excited to do it, because I think the scripts were really good from the start. And the scripts were pretty much locked down as well, so nothing much changed. Not huge amounts.
Really? Yeah.
You know, sometimes not shooting other stuff, you often get a lot of rewrites straight away, but ours were pretty locked down for a while. You might get the odd word changed or maybe one line changed on the day of filming, but that very rarely happened, which is quite rare these days.
Yeah. Did you know what you were trying out for at the time? Or were you just,
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's all dummy scripts, and I mean, my casting process was really quick. It was like over 2 weeks.
That's pretty quick.
It was very quick. So I was cast quite late. So it was quite a quick process. So I was sent, when I had my final audition, I was sent the first 3 episodes, still not knowing what character it was, and then I had my final meeting, just like this, and then it's all kind of dropped onto you, who you are and what your character's going to be doing. You're like, oh, okay, that's quite good.
Well, I know that when we first, my wife and I, when we first saw you on screen, I told her, I was like, oh, I need to reach out. I was like, I got a feeling this because they wouldn't just, I don't think you wouldn't just have a character say, well, I'll give you my opinion if you really, you know, if you want it, I'll give it to you. With that, I was like, there's more to come with this character. It's going to get into something. So that's why I was like, I'm going to reach out, and you were nice enough to come on, because I just had that feeling that we were going to get something. And then, you know, a few episodes later, or an episode later, maybe we find out you're going to be Hand of the King.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if I was ever Hand of the King on a show,
right,
I would be showing up at conventions for the rest of my life, just dressed in costume with the little hand on my shirt. I'd be like, I'm here.
Listen, Michael, you need to be my Comic-Con agent then, mate. You need.
I can help you.
It's funny because, like me, I've been getting these random messages on Instagram. I'm not really a big social media person, but I have been on this because I thought I probably should, because people will want to people are just interested. So it's
Oh, yeah.
interact and stuff with people that are big fans of the show. And then you just get these random messages from people going, "Hey, I run this convention in Albuquerque, and I'll fly you over." And you're like, "Whoa, mate, hold on, hold the phone." Yeah, so it's been interesting, that side of it.
As long as they start with, "We will fly you over," maybe we can work that out.
Yeah. I never wait anything until I see my agent's got a contract flying across his desk.
That's right. That's exactly right. You should do them if you get the opportunity. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I probably will do a few of them. I think there'd be, like you say, good fun to meet people that are such big fans of the show. And I was gutted because the first numbers 1 to 11 on the cast sheet all did Comic-Con in San Diego, and they did the big launch there. And I'm number 12 on the call sheet.
They didn't want like a full dozen? Come on.
No, but they invited me to the LA premiere, which was lovely.
So very nice.
But
did they do that premiere at was it at the Chinese Theater?
No, it was at the Academy Museum.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. Yeah, it was good, and they've got that amazing. There's an amazing veranda balcony, which is like the bar area on top, which is open. Which, in terms of, I imagine, I don't know if it was something they'd always planned on doing, but it must have been really perfect after things were eased up after COVID to have parties where there was a bit of fresh air flying around. Yeah,
it's probably a good, benefit if you can get it to have some fresh air.
Exactly.
So why do you think they went with House of the Dragon instead of just House of Dragons?
Well, I guess that's just purely because they are. Well, yeah, I see your point.
Because House of Dragons is so much easier to say. If you could go back and just ask them to change that, I appreciate it.
Oh, okay. I'll ask them. I think what happens, though, is like I was listening to another podcast the other day, and the two guys doing it were saying Rhaenyra, and her name is Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And they've obviously got it into their head. For the first time they've heard of Rhaenyra, they heard Rhaenyra, and they can't not, and they've even been corrected. I said, no, we've got it in as Rhaenyra. So when people now probably say, "Oh, my dad calls it House of the Dragons, House of Dragons, House of Dragons," he calls it, that House of the Dragons. I'm like, "It's just House of the Dragon, Dad." And he's like, "Why is it not the Dragons?" And I said, "I don't fucking know. I just turn up, put other people's clothes on, and mumble."
Well, you got this last episode, you got to play kind of the disapproving dad type of situation. You're just like, I'm uncomfortable with all that's going on.
Yeah, it got a bit serious. Yeah, it did. It put me in a bit of a predicament, the old boy. I mean, the joy of it was that Ryan is a beautiful actor. I mean, he looks older than me, and he's actually like 13 years younger. But
really?
He looks so mature. Like he's got a full beard, he's got all his hair. And he turned up for his first day of filming. We had that argument in episode 6, and he was so pumped up for it. He was so pumped, and it was quite easy to just play off of him because he was just livid.
Yeah. Well, it was a good scene.
Yeah, there was more of it, but it was. I mean, I know why, because they shot it all from Rhaenyra's perspective, so she hears everything. So that dialogue is kind of secondary to what is happening with her, because it's a crucial moment of her deciding what to do moving forward. So the focus does have to be on her with the scene. But we were both thinking we were going to get our Emmys with that one.
Well, you got my vote. If that helps at all.
I thought you say that to all the boys, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, admittedly, my vote can be had very cheaply. I will admit that. I don't have anybody calling me to say, "We'll fly you out for this convention," because I'd go. That's once they would say, "I will fly," and I'd be like, "Okay, what time? I'll be there."
Where is it? Where you get on the plane? Where is this plane going to?
Oh, Albuquerque. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where do you live? Where are you based?
So I'm in West Virginia. So I'm
Oh, right.
kind of off the middle a little bit, but right around the middle
Yeah.
of the country, which, we're just in a little small town, which
I read that you're in St Albans.
that's right. St. Albans. That's right.
So my parents were both born in St Albans, Hertfordshire, in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I
if you
love
ever
that,
have a chance,
like 90% of the names of things in our country came from England. I'm assuming they just brought them over with them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, St Albans, if you ever have a chance to go, it's only on the train 20 minutes north of London. And it's a beautiful old city, and it's got a cathedral which was started, I think, in around 900 AD, but then it was sort of knocked down, and then they had a Roman wall around the city, and then they rebuilt the cathedral with the Roman wall. So when you look at the cathedral, it's got like old stone. It's also got loads of Roman bricks as well. It's a beautiful city, actually.
Yeah, I'd love to visit. My wife works for Live Nation, so she's over in Manchester and London quite a bit, but she hasn't taken me yet. But one of these times, I'm gonna go.
Got to ask yourself why, there, Michael, haven't you?
Oh, I do.
And what? You don't give much of an answer then?
No answer. We were actually, my brother was in Wiesbaden, Germany, and we were going to come visit him and then just bounce around Europe. That was the summer of 2020. So that didn't work out too well.
No. And now flights and everything. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now he's home now. He's back here. So eventually we'll go. Yeah. But we'll have to do more of a planning trip. Have you got to outside of LA? Have you got to see any of the states?
Yeah, I lived in Las Vegas for 4 years.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, my wife had a job there. She was a dancer. She was a dancer for Celine Dion in the show there for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah. So we moved there in I never remember if it was 01 or 02. I think we moved there in 02.
Yeah.
For 4 years, we came back in 06. And we had an incredible time. Mainly because my wife Emma had 23 weeks full pay holiday. So we bought a tent and then just travelled a lot of the States, really.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was great. It was incredible. There's not much of California I've not seen.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's terrific. Do you dance?
No, only when paid. Only when I'm in a bloody musical and they make me dance.
So she doesn't pull you out dancing? Just the two of you?
No, I'll tell you what. At a wedding, I do like to dance at a wedding.
Okay.
Now, because I like a bevy and I enjoy certain types of music, so I enjoy dancing at a wedding, and we will dance at a wedding. But I've never really enjoyed learning dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate it. Whenever I do a musical in the West End, I have to have the class, the extra class. For Gavin.
Yeah. I would totally have to have an extra. They would have to hire somebody weeks in advance to work with me just to get me to the point.
But do you know what's worrying is that I went to drama school for 3 years. I've done musicals all my life. I married a dancer, and I still have to have those special classes. Now, you'd think by now I might be decent at some of it. But
you would think. Osmosis, you would think that you would.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I thought by marrying her. I think there's deception, marriage by deception. We should probably get divorced.
That's a lot of pressure because people are going to assume that you can dance and be good at it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like my wife said, if you ever become famous, though, you could go on. You call it Dancing with the Stars, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it Strictly Come Dancing here, and I couldn't think of anything worse. Having to learn new routines each week.
Now, one of these days when I see you on there, it's going to crack me up. I'm like, they got him.
They got him. He agreed to it. He said he never would. Oh, he must have needed the money. Comic Cons have dried up.
He obviously didn't go to enough conventions. Now he has to dance. when Celine Dion comes on something, does your wife dance?
What, just go into the choreography?
Yeah.
She does always. If we're sort of in a restaurant or a cafe or a pub, she'll go, "Oh, there's the boss." Still to this day, like 20 odd years later, nearly. But she was great. She was an amazing person to work for. They all loved her. Absolutely loved her.
Yeah, she seems like really just a good person.
Yeah, mad as a box of frogs, but a good person. Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what they'll say about me one of these days. Is he was mad as a box of frogs, but good person.
Yeah. That's all you want, isn't it? You just want in your epitaph on that little stone to say he was all right. He was okay.
Yeah, he's okay. I think right there's my obituary one of these days.
Well, you're doing
He's
all right
a good sort.
Considering you only look about 35 and you've got 17 grandchildren, that's pretty impressive.
See, I appreciate you bringing that back around because, the first time we were not recording. So appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that callback.
Up here for the down there for.
So what happened now that you've been Hand of the King? I mean, is every role just downhill from here?
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that took about nearly a year to film on and off. And since then, I've been very lucky. I've done 2 big feature films, not big parts, but a couple of other really nice tellies. But you kind of just, you're only as good as your last job anyway. So
that's right. Might as well enjoy this one for a while.
Exactly. I mean, it's funny. I'm talking to you today because it finished on the UK. It came out last night, episode 6, and it does feel like there's been a real closure. Because I had the most amazing time on the job because it filmed half an hour away from where I live.
Oh, nice.
I loved the cast. I loved the crew, the most amazing crew, the producers, the writers, the directors. It was just a dream job, absolute dream job, and I had the best time of my life. So it's been really sad to think that that's probably it. But yeah,
conventions
like
though.
Hey?
You'll be invited to conventions for the rest of your life. So it's never going to quite be over.
No, it's true. But like you say, I should just turn up. But actually, my good friend Matthew Needham, who plays my other son, Laris, he's such a lovely man. I mean, he's nothing like that character whatsoever. He's not
a great guy on the show.
But he's an extraordinary actor. He's so talented. And he sent me a message. He said, he always calls me Daddy, and his voicemail goes, "Oh, Daddy." He said, "Listen, I just think that maybe you and Ryan and me, we should just do the Strong Boys on tour and do all the conventions. I think we clean up, Daddy."
He's right.
Yeah. He probably is. But Ryan, who plays the other son, Harwin, he's Australian. He's out in Australia, so it's gonna be a bit tricky getting the 3 of us together because we spent quite a long time when we did the hunt scene, which is in episode 3. We spent a long time out in the woods, and then conversely, we're in a nearby hotel, just drinking and having a lot of fun.
Well, when you do that first convention together, you got to send me a picture from that, because it'll happen. Somebody will kind of lure you guys in together for a convention. Yeah,
maybe. I hope I get a bit more acting than just conventions, though. That feels like could be a bit of the death now.
I know. I think I'm putting what I would do onto you. I'd be done. I'd be like, all right, I'm a convention guy now. Enough with this acting stuff.
I'm in another series that's on telly at the moment, which I can't tell you, which is boring. But
is it on TV already, or it's coming on TV?
Quite. It could be either or. I'll leave it out in the ether. But
Okay.
I have a cough and a spit in something. And when we were shooting it, the director said, "Is that I just?" And when I turned up, they'd cut 3 or 4 of my lines, right? They'd just gone, and I got the sides, and I went, "Wait," and I got the second over, and I said, I don't mean to be a dickhead and really difficult. I said, but this isn't the script I accepted on. Like, I've now got 2 lines. No, three. I've got 3 lines. And she said, "Oh right, what do you want to do about it?" I went, "Well,
I want my lines
I'm
back.
I'm here." And the director came to my trailer, a really nice guy, and I said, this is what I was offered," and I'd taken a screenshot, which I wasn't meant to do, of this page, and I said, "Look, this is what I was offered." And he said, "I've never seen that script." So then I had to do this thing, and then we go in to rehearse it.
No concern there.
No, we start rehearsing it, and he says, "Is there a world where this doesn't have any dialogue, this scene?" And I looked at him and I went, and this is before I got the Thrones job, and I'm like, "Mate, if you cut the 2 lines I have now got in this thing, and like this other character doesn't call me my character's name, I will never get to a convention in my life." Luckily, with the crew were on my side, everybody was laughing, and then the other person who's the main star in it went, "No, he's right. Yeah, you need to keep his lines."
I mean, that's a bad sign, right? If you're down to a couple of lines and he's like, "Wonder if we can imagine a world where you don't have any lines."
It's the worst insult you'd have as an actor. Or the best. Maybe it's like, you're acting so good, you don't need words. It's just all done with your eyes. Yeah, hilarious. Hilarious.
I think I'm going to steal that. Can you imagine a world where you are not in this same room as me?
You're over there. In fact, yeah, go. Just go now.
I think if I try that one at home, that's not going to go the way I want it to.
Now you can text me and tell me how that one goes.
Yeah. It's like, I was going to take you to London, but not now. See, I kind of want to have the wives on, and then your wife to teach us all how to do the Celine Dion dances, like the 4 of us, because you and I shared the not wanting to dance. I'll say it that way. That's probably the nice way to say it. But my wife loves to dance, so I'm thinking that this could be a hilarious video.
Well, it could be. Getting me or my wife to agree to it would be pretty impressive. The email would need to start with, "We'll fly you over."
Can you imagine a world where we fly you over and dance together?
Very good. Do you like the fact I've done this one in front of my books to make me look a little bit more?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you look very studious.
But it's also color coordinated. Look.
Yes. Did you color coordinate?
What do you reckon, Michael?
No, I don't think you did.
Exactly. I put the shelves up and I painted it, but no.
Have you read any of those books?
Oh yeah, quite a few actually.
Okay, all right.
Quite a few. Not so much now, but
Is there a Game of Thrones book on there or in there somewhere? Yeah.
No, there really isn't. I don't think there's any of that kind of fantasy stuff in there actually. No,
I wonder why they didn't just call the show Fire and Ice. You need to find out some answers for me about this naming.
You just write to HBO because they're really giving.
It's like, we got another letter from this podcaster in St. Albans.
Yeah.
He is really torqued up about the name of the show.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to meet George?
No, I didn't get to meet him. he contracted COVID in
Oh, no.
San Diego when they did Comic-Con. And I think he was meant to come to LA, but no, I haven't. No, I think only, to be fair, I only think about 5 or 6 of the main cast met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as a fan of his, I hope it's because he was home writing the next book, because we're all waiting.
Yeah, he's quite. Yeah, I know he's very deep into. I think it's nearly done, isn't it?
Well, I hope. It's been 10 years, so we're all hoping that he's nearly done.
Well, he doesn't have to rush, does he? Because he's probably got a few pennies in the bank now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, George is fine. He does not need to do anything else, except if he wants to make us happy. He could put the next book out. Well,
and I think HBO will make you happy because it sounds like they've got other projects in line for the world.
I know. I love HBO for bringing all this to life, but then there's that side of me that was like, I'd probably have the end of the series in the books if HBO hadn't gotten involved. Now they got him tied up.
On season 8, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of like, well, I'd say well out of it.
Yeah, well, and you're smart to do that. And it's like on a second viewing, probably better than when you watch it through the first time. My only real complaint, a lot of people didn't like how it ended or who ended up being king or whatever. I didn't have any issue with any of that. My only real complaint was it felt rushed. They only did 6 episodes that last season. Why not 10? Let's finish it up. And then you could have, some of those storylines, they could have fleshed out a little more, and then it might not have it seemed very abrupt at the end to me. So that's my only real complaint. Spread it out a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose they could have done. I mean, I wasn't so attached to it that I kind of cared one way or the other. But I talked to some of the bigger people involved with it all, and I said, how do you do with all that? And they're like, well, we were going to piss one group of people off if we did it one way.
That's truth. Yeah, it wouldn't matter how it ended. Somebody would be unhappy. That's what I said. I wasn't really, the only thing I was unhappy is I just wanted more.
Right.
Of
the original.
Hopefully we get plenty of House of the Dragon because it's been so good so far. And they're doing it like they're really fleshing it out as far as the politics and things behind it, which I really like.
I think everything so far is just about building up the relationship between Rhaenyra and Alicent and how those two houses divide, and it creates that civil war. So I think from all the bits I know from the inside is that it only really gets seriously exciting from now on through whatever seasons they go to. Because there's so much. Because like you say, the end story of this one.
Right.
And also, like Thrones, we know the winter's coming. And we were just waiting the whole time for that to happen. The same thing is going to happen here. We're just waiting for that massive civil war to kick off.
Yeah, it's coming.
We know the result of that one.
It's coming, and Matt's character has done nothing but cause strife the entire season so far.
Yeah. I love it. I think Matt's Damon, and I think that's what's fascinating about George's characters, and I think that's one thing that has made me a fan of George, and I will go back and read more of the stuff, is how complex his characters are and how great they are and how intricate and how nuanced each of them are and how there is good and bad in each of them. And I think, and you hear him say it, don't you, in his interviews, he's quite opaque about that. He's very drawn to the people that have the good and bad, and because we all have it. And I think that's what makes his series more enduring maybe than other stuff that's out there.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, which is part of the reason, like in the books, he fleshes out every character, even the minor ones, to the point that you expect everybody to have this, great story arc. And a lot of the time, he's just fleshed the character out for you. He doesn't really have any plans for him to go on in the series. But I think that's why we like it so well, because the world is so alive, because normally you don't get the fleshing out of the minor characters, but he does that.
Yeah, exactly. And Ryan Condal in particular is such a massive fan of George and the world.
Yeah.
And he's like a walking encyclopedia of Thrones himself. I mean, he is out and out.
Yeah.
In the best way. And
that's my people.
Yes. And amen to all of you. But yeah, very clever, very astute man, and really understands plot and narrative really well.
I started reading Game of Thrones back in the, mid 90s. It's been forever ago.
Right.
And I remember going to the bookstore. That's how long it's been. I actually went to a bookstore, but went to the bookstore several times and picked that book up and read the back cover and that stuff. And just like, nah, that's not for me. Not quite yet. Now, eventually read it, loved it, and then spent several years trying to get other people to read it. Right. And most of the time it was this, kind of like, I don't want to fool with that. It's too long. I don't want to fool with that. Well, then the show finally came out and then everybody's reading it, but they're all coming back to me going, have you read this Game of Thrones? It's really good. And I was like, oh, really? Wonder where I heard that before.
I was telling you in 1844.
Although there's nothing worse than a book snob for a show. And I know that. So I've tried to hold that in, but there's nothing worse than somebody going, I read the books. I could have told you this 20 years ago, but you didn't want to listen.
It's the beautiful thing. You get these brilliant people on Twitter and Instagram that send you these sort of DMs going, yeah, well, listen, this is going to happen to your character. And you're like, yeah, I don't know if you know, but I filmed it a year ago and I've read all 10 scripts, so I've got a good idea. But thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up in case you weren't aware that bad things were coming.
Yeah.
I mean, in George's shows, no one is safe.
No.
At least from the fan side.
Yeah, especially if you're a nice person.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, if you're a good person, good luck.
But you know what? That's, again, it's that beautiful thing of getting attached to people and then having it taken away.
But your character tried to do the right thing. He tried to resign and just like, let me go. I can't be impartial anymore. Let me out.
He never really listened to me though, did he?
No.
Because parts of his body were falling off. He was too concerned.
Oh my gosh. Is it grayscale? What does he have?
I don't know if they've ever given out a true definition of what it is. I think Paddy has said things in interviews. The way he's playing it in his head is things like, I think he said leprosy in a podcast.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense. But I mean, wow. I remember going to see him one day and he was getting ready for a scene in Ep. Well, one of the late, I can't remember what Ep it was. 6, maybe 7. I hadn't seen him for about a week. he looked so awful. The makeup is incredible.
Yeah.
And like Teddy, when he actually hasn't got any of the gear on, he actually is very got good skin. He's quite dynamic and he's young and he looks younger than he is and he's fit. He's quite a fit guy.
Yeah.
He just looked like shit. It was like, oh my God, it's the best makeup I've ever seen. He just looked dreadful.
He looks rough.
Yeah, that's one way to describe it. Yeah. I mean, so I heard somebody say the other day, wow, in that 10-year jump, I'm surprised he hasn't lost more parts of his body as opposed to just one arm.
Well, we were the same way. We'll be like, well, he looks surprisingly good for the 10-year jump. I wasn't even sure he would make the jump.
Just a head in a box. Just a head in a box talking. Because
those first 5 episodes, he was declining pretty fast, and I'm like, I don't know how he's going to make a time jump, but he did so far. Yeah. If you could choose, like if you had the choice to play anyone else in that series, who would you choose?
probably Laris.
Yeah.
Laris or so Harold Westling.
Oh yeah.
His part. Actually, there's a few other characters that are coming later that we probably shouldn't discuss that I find quite interesting. There's probably quite a few I'd be interested.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I never thought when I auditioned for it, I'd be auditioning for a part as big as the one I ended up playing.
It's a big part.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a cough and a spit. I remember when I remember said to Miguel, like one day I was like, because the first day on set, when they take you around the castle, it's a real castle. They've built a real castle inside.
Yeah.
So when you go up a staircase and you turn a corner, you do go into another room. You don't just go into a black wall with some scaffolding behind it. You do go into the kitchen.
That's kind of neat. Yeah, because you would assume that there'd be nothing there if you went around the corner or whatever.
Yeah, and then because I remember saying to Ryan and Miguel on my first day, I was like, surely it would have been cheaper if you'd just buy a castle.
Yeah.
And we've got quite a few castles in the UK. I was like, surely you'd find one. And they said, no, surprisingly. And you think to yourself, yeah, this is massive. Absolutely massive. The scale of the gig when you're on it is just mind blowing. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. Have you, or did you get a chance to sit on the throne?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I sat just in front of it. And Paddy, it was the first day Paddy was filming. It was the first scene done in the throne room. And I think it was Rhaenyra's naming. So when he announces as the heir, so I think that's episode 1. Yeah, and it was our first time filming in there, and Paddy, who's a very chilled man, he is like he's as cool. He's a cool cucumber as Paddy, and he was like, well, you know what, I'll just sit on my throne, you know. But when he went in there for the first time, and he went, fucking hell. Look at this! I'm gonna sit up. And he sat down, and I looked at him and went, "What's it feel like?" And he's like, "Yeah, it feels pretty good, actually." Yeah. So I went and sat in front of him, and we got a cheeky photograph, which HBO would probably fire me for at the time. But I've got a photograph, nice one, of me and him.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to, I think. And they did this thrones much closer, I think, to what George's original thought for the throne was.
I think the designer and Ryan Condal, and I think Miguel, were both very keen that they wanted it to be that grand. What they'd spoken of in the book, that Aegon had created this out of 2,000 blades or something. Can't remember, but I remember.
There's a lot of blades.
Yeah, I mean, the first time anybody sees it in person, it is quite impressive.
Yeah. Oh, it looks impressive just on the screen. Like I was very excited when I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, it's closer to the book."
Yeah.
Well, Gavin, thank you so much. This has been terrific. I knew it would be. I was so excited to talk with you, and that's before I knew that your wife was the real talent of the family. That
yeah, you're gutted you didn't book her, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed that maybe I chose the wrong spokes.
Yeah. Well, Mrs. Gav hasn't taken my name fully, so yeah.
Oh, well, maybe if you danced.
Maybe she would. Yeah. The dog took my name, and so is my daughter. But at the vets, he's called Spencer Spokes.
Well, she's waiting to see how how things turn out.
Yeah.
Let's give it some time.
It's been 20 odd years, so I think we're done figuring it out now.
She figured it out already.
Yeah.
Now, Gavin, this has been terrific. Before I let you go, though, anything else that you're working on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I'm in a film that's just closed the Toronto Film Festival called Dali Land, about Salvador Dali.
Yeah, I saw that you were going to be be in that one. That's one. My wife's an artist, so I know that we'll be watching that movie at some point.
Oh right, oh, amazing. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I play a very small role in that. And then I'm in Napoleon, the new Ridley Scott film.
Well, I didn't want to bring that one up in case that was the one you were talking about earlier.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I saw, and Joaquin Phoenix is playing Napoleon in that one.
Yeah. That's rather. He's rather special.
Well, you've got a decent role in that.
No, actually, no. It just sounds better than it is. Because I'm a cough and a spit in that, but that's a British cast full of lots of. It was filmed here, so there's a lot of British talent in that one.
Yeah.
Anybody that's been on the stage for a few years, we're all in it at some point.
That's good. That means it'll be well acted.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it's that thing of that. It's like the original Star Wars films where you could tell they wanted classical Shakespearean actors because the language needs to sound natural to people who are playing it.
Right.
That's what was so good with those first Star Wars films, is that George Lucas must have gone, I needed just a load of old British stage actors that can make this stuff sound normal.
Yeah.
Because of the heightened language that we use with the classical work here. I mean, the classical work's used all over the place, but there is a lot of tradition for it here, and I think that's where it came from. And so the same thing's happening in Napoleon because it's slightly heightened language as well, I think. And it's Ridley Scott; he likes it.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for that one because I'm kind of a history buff, so
nice. I think
that one sounds good.
That is an epic thing. There's a lot of people on that. One day I was there was like 300 extras and 100 horses. It was
really.
Oh my god, it was massive. Yeah. And then what else am I in? Oh, in Magic Mike's Last Dance.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that one up. For some reason, I didn't write that down, but I definitely saw that you're going. So will you be dancing in this one?
Yeah. Get my little Todger out. Yeah. No, I play. No, I can't tell you what I play, but I just did a day on it, but it was Salma's first day on it. Salma Hayek, who is absolutely, what a goddess. She's incredible.
She totally is, and has been doing this for such a long time. And talk about somebody that's aging well. She is definitely aging well. Yeah.
Yep. No arguments there.
I'll have to admit, I'm a little disappointed that you weren't one of the dancers.
Yeah. Well, that was never going to happen because my teacher was dance. So they asked. They said, we understand you got the washboard stomach under the one you're hiding there, the stomach you're hiding over it, but we'd like you to dance in it. And I said, no, I hate dancing.
Yeah.
So that was that. But yeah, so there's that. What else am I doing? Oh, I did a series for the BBC called Better, which is that won't come out till late next year. I don't know when Napoleon's out. And I've done another TV series. So there's quite a bit, and I'm doing a play at the National Theatre over Christmas. So.
Oh, very nice. What's the play?
It's called Kerry Jackson, and it's like a little snapshot of London now. It's about.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's about a woman who voted for Brexit, but she opens up a Spanish tapas restaurant and can't quite understand why her olives are more expensive now. It's fun. It's good fun. It's only a 6-hander, so I'm looking forward to that.
No, that's terrific. So last thing is, I know you're not on there too much, but what's your social media so we can kind of keep track of you on there?
So I can't remember what they actually are, but I think Gavin Spokes, and I'm probably the only person on there. I think Gavin Spokes. Yeah, that's all there is for both of them, I think.
You came up pretty easy when I put your name.
I am very easy. Yeah, as you'll have found out already, I'm very easy.
Yeah, me too.
Kindred spirits.
Well, Gavin, thank you so much, and you definitely got to come back at some point. Maybe once all of the season's out, so we can actually talk about it without giving too much away.
Yeah. Give us another shout.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, hold on one second, Gavin. All right. The talented and just terrific person, Gavin Spokes. I was really excited to talk with him. Yeah, I knew pretty early on his character was going to be important on the show, and I'm so happy that that's starting to pay off. I love his character on House of the Dragon. So if you're not watching, I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you're not, you should definitely give it a try. And the nice thing about House of the Dragon is it's actually a prequel to the Game of Thrones series. So if you never jumped on board the Game of Thrones bandwagon, or Song of Ice and Fire, as the books are known, House of the Dragon could definitely be a starting point for you. Because you're coming in, it's only going to help you when you get to the Game of Thrones stuff. So if you're not watching, definitely check that out. And Gavin, I was hoping that I could talk to him about Napoleon, because the cast in that one is amazing. Joaquin Phoenix is playing Napoleon. Vanessa Kirby's in it. It's going to be a pretty big movie, so definitely looking forward to that. And Dollyland was the other one. I didn't want to ask him directly because I was afraid that was something he was trying not to talk about, but it wasn't either one of those. So terrific. And hopefully you got a little bit of insight into the show without us giving away any spoilers. We're trying not to, because we're only halfway through the season right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. I definitely don't take that for granted. I appreciate it so much. You can help us if you're listening for the first time, or if you're a return listener or watcher. We appreciate that. You can help us. If you're listening, you like what you hear, you can definitely help us out. Go to YouTube under MeisterCon Pod and subscribe. It's free, but it really would help us to continue to grow this podcast and continue to bring in terrific, wonderful guests. So it's YouTube, MeisterCon Pod. Please help us out. Subscribe. You can find we're closing in on 500 episodes now. You can find all of those on our website, meistercon.com. Audio and video. I think we're up to 462 episodes and counting. We put up about 4 a week on average. So definitely check that out. If we're going on location, if we're doing anything in studio, if we're covering a convention, all that will be on the website, meistercon.com. So thank you guys so much. Oh, and the website also has a really great, fun, geeky, well-written blog that Brett does that I know you'll absolutely love. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, bye, everybody.